again. You're watching Page 3 here on News 9. This is Sakshi Singh Litoria. Let's begin our show for the day. Segment 1, our Nostalgia Nuggets, will be telling you the story of the recent passing away of Indian cinema's one of the biggest gems. Manoj Kumar, a cinematic icon who shaped India's cultural identity, passed away in Mumbai on April 4th of 2025 after a prolonged illness. Known for crafting the idealistic hero, Bharat Kumar portrayed a figure of unwavering moral strength, championing national unity, self-sacrifice and resistance against social evils, corruption and foreign influence. His films delivered a timeless message of love and kindness as intrinsic to Indian tradition, encapsulated in the line, "Hai Preet Jahan ki Reet Sada." Born Hare Krishna Swamy in 1937 in Abbottabad, now in Pakistan, Kumar's life and work were deeply influenced by the partition, during which he lost his younger brother in riots. This tragedy fueled his distinct vision of nationalism, more direct than that of contemporaries like Raj Kapoor or Mehboob Khan of that era, evident in his films like Upkar from 1967 and Purab aur Paschim from 1970. While some later also critique his portrayal of rural, urban and east-west divides as overly simplistic, his work in the 1960s and 70s made patriotism aspirational in that era. At a time when Bollywood heroes frolicked in Kashmir amid national crisis, Kumar's Shore from 1972 fought for mill workers' right, and Roti Kapda aur Makan from 1974 tackled unemployment and inflation with a poetic touch, with a poetic resonance. His songs such as Mere Desh Ki Dharti and Bharat Ka Rehne Wala Hoon became anthems of pride, inspiring even Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who honoured Kumar's legacy as well. The filmmaker's influence echoed in Modi's vocal for local ethos, and Kumar became the first recipient of Dadasaheb Phalke Award under the NDA government, who came in power in the year of 2014. His rapport with leaders was notable. Lal Bahadur Shastri inspired Upkar with Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, while Roti Kapda aur Makan urged Indira Gandhi's admiration during the emergency. Manoj Kumar's career began with romantic and thriller roles in films like Wo Kaun Thi from 1964 and Do Badan from 1966, establishing him as a box office draw alongside Rajendra Kumar. Yet, he carved a unique niche with patriotic classics like Shaheed from 1965, a poignant tribute to Bhagat Singh. His visual storytelling, wheat field, frame through anklets in Upkar, or a rain-lashed ship in Kranti from 1981, redefined cinematic language. Adopting his screen name from Dilip Kumar's Shabnam from 1949, he balanced elegance with versatility, excelling in diverse roles from Sannyasi of 1975 to Admi from 1968. A self-aware actor, Manoj Kumar masked his limitations with signature gestures. You remember this gesture? Like covering his face, a cue for camera zooms as well, that won him a devoted female fan following. His famous hand gesture later became a gimmick for the filmmakers. He was in fact angry with Farah Khan for having mocked him in her film Om Shanti Om. Manoj Kumar ji was extremely versatile in helping in nature. His hands-on approach extended to music also, collaborating with Kalyan ji, Anand ji on narrative-driven songs like Kasme Wade. A former ghostwriter, he also shaped scripts beyond his own productions, notably contributing to Mera Naam Joker by Raj Kapoor, the greatest showman. Though his portrayal of women like Saira Banu in Purab aur Paschim sometimes leaned on titillation, he was also criticized for the same, but films like Upkar also featured strong female leads. By the 1980s, his relevance waned with flops like Kaliyug or Ramayan. Critics dismissed his later works as nepotistic as his style grew dated. Joining the BJP in the year of 2004, he supported Prime Minister Modi's campaign in the year of 2014 as well, before retreating from the spotlight. He is now gone and is still resting in peace, still Bharat's voice. Once bold and singular, left an indelible mark on the Indian cinema. And that's not it. In today's Nostalgia Nuggets, we in fact spoke to his very dear friend Prem Chopra. Listen in to what he said in conversation with Page 3. Hello Prem sir, thank you so much for speaking to Page 3 on News 9. You are speaking to Sakshi Singh Litoria. So first up, we have recently lost a gem from Indian cinema. He made a significant impact on the Indian cinema and the entertainment industry. You were very
Thank you.
close to Manoj Kumar ji, sir. How would you describe the bond that you shared with the legendary actor?
Myself and Manoj were really very close because my first picture working with him was Vidya. Vidya made long time ago. And then we got together, and then the second picture of mine was with him, which is Wo Kaun Thi. Now, Wo Kaun Thi had a small, it was a suspense film. I was a suspense as a film. But then after seeing Potentiality or something like that, he casted me in Shaheed. Since then, our friendship has blossomed and we became very good friends. And he's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful director.
Right. Right, sir. You were at the funeral also. What were the emotions that rushed through your mind when you saw him for the last time?
My emotions were all the recollections of the past that we were together, laughing, and the creativity, laughter. He was very serious. He was a extraordinary director. He was a film director, producer, leading man himself, a writer, and sometimes he would operate the camera as well.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views, talking about your bond that you shared with late legendary actor Manoj Kumar ji. It was lovely having you with us here on Page 3 on Newsline, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for this week's Pick of the Week, we are suggesting you to watch When Life Gives You Tangerines on Netflix. In a streaming world obsessed with speed, When Life Gives You Tangerines, Netflix standout K-drama with IU and Park Bogum feels like a breath of fresh air. A story that unfolds with a slow pace, but a pleasant one, like peeling a juicy tangerine bit by bit. Set on Jeju Island, this multi-generational tale stretches across 6 decades, tracing the love story of Oh Ae-son, played by IU, and Yang Gwon-shik, played by Park Bogum, against South Korea's whirlwind modernization. It kicks off in the 1960s on Jeju, where young Ae-sun, a sharp, book-hungry girl, dreams bigger than her small world allows. Her mom, Ae-han-yo driver, sums it up very grimly to her, quoting, "Better to be a cow than a woman here." That line sets the stage for Ae-sun's uphill battle. IU shines as the grown-up Ae-sun, bringing a gritty mix of grit and heart, raw and real. No polish required to the character at all. Park Bogum's Gwon-shik, meanwhile, is the kind of guy you root for, quietly solid, always there, tying her shoes for selling her cabbages, no flashy heroic required. For the Gen Zs, yes, he is the green flag that you say. Their bond skips the usual K-drama cliches. Forget big confessions, it's all in the small stuff. A quick look, a gentle nudge, Gwon-shik stepping back so Ae-sun can actually chase her dreams. When they finally kiss amid the canola fields, it hits hard, carrying years of bottled up feelings between both of them. Director Kim Won-shok keeps it chill, letting the scenes linger and emotions build. That is why the pace is that slow that I spoke of initially. Jeju's wild beauty pops up on the screen very often, divers dotting the sea like stars, golden sunset framing the life-changing chats. Every shot feels like a painting. The English title swaps lemons for Jeju's famous tangerines, a neat twist on turning sour into sweet. But the Korean name, tied to the local dialects you have worked hard, digs even deeper, saluting the grind of love and life. Later, the story shifts to Ae-sun and Gwon-shik's daughter, Gam-myung, showing how Korea's changed narrative looks like, and how some things, like what makes a relationship tick, do not at all. Her arc tosses out the one true love fairy tale, betting instead on respect and fit over first love fireworks. Sure, the slow burn might test fans of fast plots, but stick to it. Believe me, just stick with it. The emotional gut punches will land big on your heart. It's not just romance, history, or family drama. It's a long, quiet look at time and sticking it out. Moon Sori and Park Hae-joon take over as the older Ae-sun and Gwon-shik, keeping the vibe very, very seamless throughout the drama. By the end, as Aesun looks back, the show drops a very simple truth. Age wrinkles the outside, but inside we are still us, still laughing, crying, even connecting. For anyone tired of K-drama's wild rides, this one's definitely a grounded gem. It's about the guts it takes to face daily grind and the quiet bravery of just staying put, just existing, and also embracing the time lapse. Less hype, more heart when life gives you tangerine is definitely worth the watch. And now it's time for entertainment wrap of the week, so here we go.
In a delightful surprise, actor Gauhar Khan announced her second pregnancy on Instagram with a vibrant twist. Married to Zahid Darbar, Gauhar chose a cheerful dance and music reel to share the news. Apurva Mukhija, aka the Rebel Kid, deletes previous posts from Instagram. She shared screenshots of multiple threats and hate comments she received after India's got blatant controversy. She has now shared a new video sharing more details about what she faced in the past couple of months. The box office is buzzing once again, thanks to an unexpected blockbuster. The Minecraft movie, inspired by the wildly popular video game, has scored the biggest opening weekend of the year. Remarkably, it's achieved this feat despite controversies that led to the police being called at several theatres across the US and UK. In a recent interview, Abhijit Bhattacharya addressed his awkward bond with Shah Rukh Khan, saying people credit him for everything: the song, the music, the film. Sab kuch to wo hi hai, to main kya karu? Filmmaker Tahira Kashyap revealed her breast cancer relapse after 7 years. Post-treatment, she's now back home, recovering well. Marvin Levy, Steven Spielberg's longtime publicist and an Oscar winner, dies at 96. Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol's Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge becomes the first Indian film to be honoured at Scenes in the Square movie trail in London. Allu Arjun announced coming on board with Atlee for AA22 on his birthday. Speculation suggests that another Deepika Shah Rukh Khan film is underway. They might be seen together in Siddharth Anand's King. Suhana Khan is also going to get a big role in the film. As of now, Siddharth has just tweeted false on X. But is it about Deepika being in the film? Well, only time will tell. Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, will be screened out of competition at the 78 Cannes Film Festival. The eighth and probably the final installment of the popular spy thriller will premiere on the 14th of May.
This week for the Crispy Chats, we spoke to someone, I think you will guess him. Left, right, left. That's right, Rajiv Khandelwal. Here's a look at the chat. Hi everyone. So speaking to News 9's page here today is everybody's favorite Rajiv Khandelwal. We all are a huge fan. I think every 90s kid and 20s kid must have watched Left, Right and Left. Rajiv, we still remember you as Captain Rajveer Singh Shekhawat. How do you feel? You have come so far from that space. You've begun earlier than that, of course. But I don't know, Captain remained in our head. We all cried when he died.
I mean, I'll be very honest, I haven't ever felt that I've come very far from those characters because they are still alive in so many minds and so many hearts. I keep bumping into people. I keep meeting police officers. I keep meeting naval officers, mostly women, who come up to me and they tell me that their inspiration was Captain Rajveer Singh Shekhawat. So there is still a cult following. So it has never ever so happened that suddenly the world has forgotten Captain Rajveer Singh Shekhawat, or for that matter, other characters that I played back in the day on television. So they have kept me alive, and I'm not joking and I'm not lying when I say that every, let's say, 6 months, I go to the airport and somebody or the other from the security team would walk up to me and give me a salute and say, "आपको पता है, आपको नहीं मालूम होगा, तब मैं बहुत छोटी थी, आज से 20 साल पहले, 15 साल पहले, 18 साल पहले, मैंने कैप्टन राजवीर सिंह शेखावत को देखा था और वहीं से मुझे ये इंस्पिरेशन मिली थी." So yeah, I really don't feel that I've gone very far ahead.
Now let's come to secrets of
Seele Das, because I'm really interested about that. There was not much of the hubbub around the promotional activities. We did not see much of the interviews, much of the headlines. Still, the series has performed really well. So how do you think about, just the word of mouth and also the content quality?
So while we were out there trying to promote the series, we realized that we do not have a huge plan to go out and start screaming about our series. So we decided that this is definitely going to be one word of mouth kind of a series, because whoever is going to watch the trailer would definitely be intrigued about the premise. The space is a very new space. It's a very refreshing space. We knew that there has not been too many content on treasure hunt in our country.
Yeah.
Be it films or be it series. So we were very sure that whoever is going to watch the trailer would come out to just see the space. That let's watch what is this. Especially in today's day and age, where most of the content that we consume is very complicated, dark, or it's an extremist kind of a content, either this side or that side. So this one was a very let's say a very refreshing thing for me to attempt and also to present both. So we were very sure that once it comes out, and definitely word of mouth is going to take it very far, and it did. And we were quite surprised. The platform was surprised, so were we, that this is really doing well. For me, the kind of organic reaction, so I gauge the success of anything by the organic reaction that you get, not by the numbers which I put out there, because numbers can be always managed, manipulated, fudged or whatever. So I realized that within a couple of days of it coming out, I was meeting people who were talking to me about Shiledar, and they were, especially let's say in Maharashtra, where Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is like really huge. I was bumping into people who would not charge me things because they would say that हमारे शिलेदार आ गए, those kind of things were happening there. But yeah, and then when I traveled to UP, I realized it's not just the Maharashtra belt. There are also people from North who are consuming it and they're liking it. Also, I think one reason why it worked was because it appeals to almost everyone. We all have a kid in us. We all love treasure hunts, especially when a treasure hunt is mixed with the fiction, with the facts that we have read in history and the fiction that we can relate to. It just becomes an interesting watch. So I think that those are the reasons why it worked.
But Marathi is not your first language, so how did you prepare for it? Because you appeared very fluent and very well versed with it.
So Marathi is not my first language, but thankfully I didn't have to play a hardcore Maharashtrian in this one. I had to play someone who is a Maharashtrian from his heart, but was born and raised in Bangalore by people who weren't of Marathi origin. So I just had to inculcate the values and the love for Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, which is very high in Maharashtra. And I think also what made it easy for me was the fact that about 70% of the crew, or maybe more, were Maharashtrians. The director, the co-actors, majority of them were all Maharashtrians. So I could only hear Marathi on the sets. I was only eating Marathi food, and I was in the company of all these wonderful Maharashtrian people. So that made it a lot easier for me.
Let's also talk about Showtime, because I've seen that series as well. If I could speak to you about the cast ensemble one in Showtime, and if we compare the viewership with Shiledar, do you think that, despite of having so many big faces at one particular project, Shiledar has still surpassed the viewership wise? If we were to compare Showtime as well as Shiledar is far beyond in terms of the viewership with Showtime. So do you think the ensemble cast in today's era do make a difference, or it's just the content's power that's speaking louder?
So you're right. I mean, not that Showtime was not liked. Showtime was also kind of appreciated. But when it comes to numbers, the number of people who have watched this one is I think way more than the number of people who watched Showtime. Though we expected a lot of people to watch Showtime because it was Karan Johar and the space was such that we thought would be very exciting for the viewers. So they did see, but this one had way more number of people watching it. And this proves one thing for sure to me, which I've always very strongly believed in, that being strong on social media doesn't translate into numbers. So we had all these actors, who had massive following on social media. They had massive presence on social media, And here we were. I am hardly there on social media. I think Bari Sai, nobody else was very active or big on social media. And but the number of people who came, who saw the series were way more. So this actually is a study of sorts, where you know that are the numbers fake when it comes to social media, or does social media fool us, which I very strongly believe in, that it actually is a tool to fool you, whether it's your own glory or whether it's or people who are criticizing you. I think the lesser you are there, the better it is for your sensibility. So I think, it's always the content that matters, that I've always believed in right from the beginning. And nothing can be way more powerful, because we have seen people who have massive, let's say, presence on social media, or that's what it comes across like. I do not know how many of them are hollow and how many of them are genuine, but it at least comes across as somebody who has a massive following. So by that logic, that should work in every field, in every sphere of life, because you already have such a dedicated audience. But it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't translate like that. And someone like me who's never been on who's never been very active on social media, this reaffirms my faith that believe in your belief system, then in what the world has to say to you.
So you're extremely versatile. You have already mentioned you have done films, you have done OTT, you were part of the television series as well. You have hosted show. On that part, I want to ask you, which of these you've enjoyed the most and you found the most challenging one? Also, what keeps you grounded despite all of these years and all of the work that you have done?
See, one thing, I'll answer the second part of the question first. I've always believed that ground is the place to live. You can't be flying just because 10 others make you try and give you wings. You should know that you are supposed to live here. So I think I've never left my roots, and that's what has kept me who I am. And I wouldn't say that's a great quality. I think everyone should be grounded, because that's where you're supposed to live. Do not start flying because 10 others, as I just said, may try and make you believe that you have wings. So that's the second part of it. And the first part, the most challenging part as a performer for me has been, and the most enjoyable also, has been when I was hosting Sach Ka Samne, because that was something which was very, very organic. I didn't have any script. I had to be present in that moment. I had about 12 cameras around me. I had decided not to use teleprompter for many episodes because I was there. And it was a very tricky show. It was a show where I had to be myself, along with the contestant. Of course, the show was all about the contestant. But for me also, I was playing Rajiv Khandelwal, who I am. So whoever I am, those who know me, they could see me there sitting, feeling for people, and so it was very challenging in the beginning, because it was so unnerving, to be there and with the live audience and without any, even though they were recorded episodes, but they were still being shot like a live show without too many breaks. So that was very unnerving and very exciting. And other than that, like I said, every project, my first series called Kahin To Hoga, which brought me a lot of fame, was probably that was the most challenging, because I came completely without any acting experience. So I was learning on the ground. I used to be very hardworking, but I used to cringe each time I would see myself on screen, and I used to wonder, how can women like this man, which is being played by me. But then that's how it was, and I was still learning in my first show. So that was the most challenging. Once I kind of got hold of my, let's say, my nerves post that first series, I think it's just the first couple of days when I'm trying to get into the skin of the character, which is very scary for me. Otherwise, then you start enjoying.
Amazing. With that, we have reached the conclusion of this interview. Rajiv, that was the most insightful chat that I've ever had in the recent time. Thank you so much for speaking to News 9.
And that's all for this week's Page 3 here at News 9. Do stay tuned. We will see you next week with more of your entertainment luggage.